What makes a business different from a job?
A job can be replaced by another employee. Everybody needs to be replaceable in your business, especially yourself.
In March, you made
84,000.
What kind of value does the booking system bring to your business?
Without a booking system, it's impossible to scale.
How is the marketing helping you scale?
Get somebody that knows how to do it and report to you directly or learn.
Hi everybody, Bridget with Jump Orange, and today I have a special guest. I have Alejo Lopez from Bounce House Broward. We're going to be talking about how you can scale your events. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Alejo has a lot of great advice for us. So Alejo, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so your business, you've been in the business how long now?
Almost 2 years now.
And what kind of experience did you have before coming into the business?
Well, all sorts. I've always been an entrepreneur. And the main difference between me and other operators is that I actually purchased my business. Mm-hmm. So I didn't start from scratch, so I didn't go through a lot of the things that I believe to be really, really hard, because when you don't juggling a full-time job and then doing this on the side, that must be overwhelming. So because I bought the business, I was able to go straight to full time, right? So
so you were all in right from the jump.
From the jump.
Full commitment,
right? So I didn't have any other, other than the family, right? I didn't have anything else pulling me any other direction. So I could give it my full focus. By having an entrepreneurial background, I started engineering, so I have all those, all this, knowledge that I acquired over the years. I'm also a little bit older. A lot of the guys that started in their 20s, right? I'm in my 40s and I started this, right? I didn't start this, right? I purchased this, right? Mm-hmm. So that gives me a different perspective, a different, mindset,
a different advantage.
When you buy a job that's typically a trade, you run the risk of buying yourself a job. I didn't want to buy myself a job. I wanted to buy myself a business.
Yes.
So in order to buy yourself a business, you need to treat it like a business. So, previous owner did a lot of things himself, which is how many of the current operators operate. And probably...
what kind of stuff was he doing?
Everything from marketing to deliveries, to pickups, to cleaning, to fixing, to fixing the AC on the truck, to changing the tire on the everything, absolutely everything, which is what a lot of the operators that are in the industry do, and that's really challenging and it takes a toll on you. But then it also doesn't allow you to focus on the big picture of things, doesn't allow you to grow as fast as you could grow. Mm-hmm. And then you're essentially, you don't have a business, you have a job, right?
Yeah.
So I want to have a business, not a job, right? I want to be a business owner, not an employee of my business.
And define for me, what makes a business different from a job?
A job can be replaced by another employee, right? How many operators can honestly say they could hire somebody to do exactly what they can do? Probably no, but none. I can do it right now, right? I'm aiming towards that, putting people in place that can do a lot of the things that I do, so that eventually, I'm replaceable as well. So in a business, if the CEO of Microsoft steps down, they get a new one.
Yeah.
If the CEO of
business goes on.
Yeah, even if you go smaller, the general manager of Publix, they get a new one. That's the difference between a business and a job, right? So everybody needs to be replaceable in your business.
Definitely.
Including yourself, especially yourself.
Yes, definitely. And I know that in the time that you've owned it, you've done a lot of things. You were telling me in March, you made
84,000.
84,000. That's incredible.
That's a record setting for us.
Yeah, it wasn't unexpected, right?
It was kind of unexpected, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it actually break our forecast. We had a forecast that we do every year, and in the grand scheme of things, we're within 2-3% of our forecast because we had a little bit lower February.
Okay, yeah.
Right, but it was kind of the charts for us. I mean, we still don't know exactly what happened. Granted, March had 5 weekends instead of 4, but we already knew that and we already accounted for that in our forecast. It might be a combination of things, having two people on the phone, doing SEO,
Yeah.
doing Google Ads, doing this, that, reaching a certain threshold on Google reviews, right? So, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe this month is not going to be as big, I don't know.
Yeah, but like rather than you just being like, "Oh, great, we made all this money, like put it in my pocket, awesome." You're like, "How and why?"
Yeah.
And how do we do it again?
Exactly.
And let's break it down. Like from all my conversations with you, Alejo, it seems that you're really looking at things from a different perspective, from a financial perspective, and that's what's helping you scale so quickly. And that's what you're bringing to the table that's so unique in this industry. So I know, everybody out there has booking systems, right? Like it's pretty much essential. What kind of value does the booking system bring to your business?
Well, without a booking system, it's impossible to scale. I mean, not impossible, but really, 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 really hard.
Yeah.
So when I bought this business, I was looking at another business that was a lot cheaper. It was a little bit smaller. They had less time in the industry. They were both up for sale. One of them was in an area closer to me, which I liked better, and it was cheaper, so I liked better. If I'm gonna take a chance at this, better go with the cheaper option. They did not have a booking system, right? And then when we saw this business that was for sale, they had a booking system. We saw how it worked. I was like, wow, this is the way it should be, right? The other guys were taking notes on a little notebook and figuring out where to go. So having a booking system, really helps you organize, everything. And if you scale and you got employees, and then you got one crew, then you got two crews, then you got three crews, then the booking software lets you, organize all of that. Same thing with units. Your unit is booked, it gets out of inventory, right? That way you don't double book it.
Yeah.
So, happy customers, customer service,
And it's showing you like those numbers too, right? Like how many times did it go out?
Yeah.
How much did you make off those units? Like is the booking system where you're pulling your, weekly or monthly reports from, or how are you doing that?
I pull reports from different things, like, because usually our weekly meetings are mostly about marketing, and a lot of these reports come from web traffic and and actual bookings. Bookings do come from the booking software. We book, marketing data comes from either Google Ads or whatever platform we're using. But when we are trying to decide which units to get, we do go back to the booking software, say, okay, this one unit went out XYZ times, and then, it made us so much money, it made X amount of money. So yeah, we can replace it. It's not a good seller, bad seller, then also categories, right? So if I see that combos are going out, what percentage of my bookings are combos? What percentage of my bookings are slides? What percentage of bookings are regular bounces, right? Just the basic three, right? And then what percentage of inventory do I have to all of those? Am I balanced, right? I might go out on the floor and I see this super cool new slide that JumpOrange has, right? And I want it. I think this go out a lot. Okay, how many slides do I have? Maybe I need the combo version of that, or maybe I need the bounces version of that. What's gonna fit better within my inventory? And also, oh yeah, for this year I'm forecasting growth of 30%. Okay, are you gonna get 30% more units? If not, you're not gonna be able to achieve that growth.
Yeah.
I want to double my business. Okay, you need double your units. I mean, not exactly like that. It's not black and white. It's just a matter of what the utilization of units are in the weekend, right? But if you won't, let's say you push marketing like crazy, you invest a bunch of money in Google Ads, SEO, and the whole 9 yards, but then you don't buy any units, then you're not gonna get any bookings because you're already booked, right? Same thing. What are my delivery vehicles? Do I have enough vehicles to scale my business when I want to scale it? Are they going to leave me hanging? Like last week, two of my trucks broke down at night, Saturday night.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Fortunately, we have a pickup truck, we have a trailer, a spare. We don't use that on a regular basis. So we managed to do all the deliveries, even though 2 out of 3 vehicles were down, we still managed to do everything. That's by having a team in place. We're not pushing our team to the edge either. to allow for either more bookings or for, things like this to happen, right? So that's all planning. That's all planning and looking forward and trying to control the
urges almost.
yeah,
Like,
control the
let's
uncontrollable.
buy.
Try to
Like,
try
wait
to,
a minute, let's
yeah.
make sure we buy with a plan.
A business is to be predictable.
Yeah. And like when you talk about the marketing, it sounds like that's one of the big pillars for you too. You were saying that really like those weekly meetings, you're going over the marketing. So tell me, like, what kind of marketing are you using and what are you looking for from the marketing? How is the marketing helping you scale?
Okay. So we're doing Google Ads mostly. We also do a little bit of Facebook and Instagram, a little bit there. Usually Facebook and Instagram we use for retargeting, which is a strategy that we use a company to help us with that because we can't do anything. But once you hire a company, the difference between a business and a trade, you hire a company and then you forget about it and they do their job and they work, on the background. Once you have a business, hey, I want to see a progression report. What have you done for me the last couple of weeks or months or whatever, right? I want to see what results, If not, I'm hiring a company to do something. If you hire a guy to paint your house and
And you don't see the wall painted.
Correct.
Like,
so it's important to, know enough. You might not know how to do it, but you need to know what they're doing.
you need to see the results.
See the results or have some way of measuring the results.
The metrics or some kind of,
Yeah.
tangible thing.
Yeah.
And so how have you progressed that marketing? Like, what are you doing differently now with it? I think you were telling me you are starting to do some of it in-house.
Yeah, we're starting, like, there's two main things in marketing would be, let's say, ads and SEO. SEO stands for search engine optimization, right? Mm-hmm. SEO work is very tedious and very non-rewarding because you don't see results right away, right? So SEO, it's about, being seen everywhere or in as many places as possible, right? Having, some kind of value online per se.
Like a further reach, basically.
And Google Ads puts you on the top right away, but it costs more money.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs more money up front, right? SEO might cost more money in the long run. So we interviewed a couple of companies for SEO. We tried some, and then because it's not a very report friendly area, we felt that we weren't getting enough results, or we felt like we didn't know what they were doing. Sometimes they would give us a report that was very vague that said, we worked on their Google profile. Okay, what did you do in the Google profile? Tell me which letter did you add? I want to know what you've been doing because I'm giving you money every month, right? They didn't like that, obviously. I mean, and they felt like we were hounding them a little bit, and then we weren't seeing results. So, we decided to start doing our own SEO, and then we started. One of the guys on my team started researching that, and working towards that, and then we started seeing a lot of results, and then we learned a lot along the way. That's part of being the business owner, right? You need to learn about every single
aspect of
your business. Like, a lot of people know everything they used to know about the blowers, about the stakes, about how many units, how many of the units themselves, if you have concessions on tents on whatever, right? But then you gotta see the other parts too. You gotta see the marketing, you gotta see the finance, you gotta see which might be boring, especially for a hands-on guy. If you want to go out there and fix things and build things, and then you gotta sit in the office and look at numbers all day, it could be boring. So either get somebody that knows how to do it and report to you directly, or learn.
Yeah, and like it's better to learn about it so that way when you do hire the company that's doing it, there's that accountability factor where you know what they're doing, so you know if they're doing a good job at it or if maybe they're slacking. Yeah. You know what they're talking about. It's not this like unknown thing that you're pouring money into, right?
Correct. Now, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. It's like it might not be for everybody though.
Right.
And the good thing about this industry is that you could get a very good living just by doing the deliveries and doing your thing, some people might like that better. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with employees. I don't want to
Totally.
grow a business. I want to keep my trade as it is. That's making me a lot of money. Because if I were to do all my deliveries myself, I would probably be living better.
Yeah, but like what you're talking about is a different mindset, a different
Correct.
perspective, which is building a business.
Correct.
A business that's going to be, like you said, big enough to where you're going to be replaceable.
Correct.
And the business will continue.
But the point I'm trying to make at the end is like, it might not be for everybody.
Definitely.
And a lot of, there's this pressure of, business owners and whatnot. And, it's okay if you don't want to do it that way. Just be honest with yourself and keep to what you're good at, and don't get yourself tangled, in something that you might not, you might dread.
Maybe it's like bigger than what your goals are.
Correct.
So like for you, we've talked about like the booking and the marketing. What about expenses? Like, how are you looking at your expenses? How are you looking at those reports? And how are those reports affecting your decisions?
Okay. So I try to have a very clear information of what everything is going. And I do have some accounting background that I get to use. I do what every accountant hates, which is I have my own like Excel sheet with everything, which is not by any means, I'm not advising anybody to do that. I mean, I'm very good with the formulas and stuff like that, so I can pull from 6 different sheets, right, where I dump my CSVs from my credit cards, from my checking account, from my loans, from everything. I dump everything in one place and it populates everything else, which that requires different background and knowledge that not everybody might have. Like there's a bunch of booking softwares out there, like QuickBooks, like they're the famous ones, right? There's others too
that can help you
help you do that. The reason I chose to do it Excel wise is because we do have a lot of cash business, so this helps me manage parts that QuickBooks is not ready for that, and then I could cater something specific to my industry. QuickBooks, you could do like a laundromat, you could do
a donut
car
shop.
dealership, you could do lawn care service, all with QuickBooks, right? QuickBooks helps you do invoicing, right? But then if you got booking software doing invoicing, so I don't need QuickBooks to do invoicing, right? QuickBooks has an inventory management, so do the booking software. So I don't need QuickBooks. So a lot of the things that typically I would handle with QuickBooks, I'm handling with the booking software. So the financial side of it, with the financial data I get from the booking software, plus the financial data I get from my bank, plus some kind of built-in knowledge that I bring to the table, I managed to create these complicated Excel sheets where I can categorize and give me P&Ls, give me balance sheets, give me
What's a P&L?
profit and loss statement.
Okay. Profit and loss statement. And then so like what other information are you getting from those sheets?
Cash flow statements.
Cash flow. So explain cash flow.
So cash flow means where all my money is going every month, every week. Mm-hmm. So am I paying all my debts, or is my debt increasing, decreasing, staying the same?
Yeah.
So the main thing to run everything by your bank is to leverage debt, right? Every company, every business has debt. Most of them do. By leveraging the debt allows me to come here and buy 4 units today, right? And maybe I don't have to pay them right away, and then by the time I have to pay them in full, I would have got my money back already. That's only by leveraging debt. But then if you don't have a clear view of your finances, it's very easy to overburden yourself with too much debt. And then if you don't have enough business to cover all this debt that you acquired, then you're in trouble. That's why it's dangerous to over leverage yourself, to get too much debt, right? Banks will give you credit left and right. And it's also good to be able to recognize good debt versus bad debt, right? For me, anything over 12, 13, 14% APR is bad debt, which I have some bad debt. I have credit card debt from the business. That's at 20 right now. because my promotion APR expired. So I'm working really hard to cover those debts first.
To cover that first.
Yeah, rather than the other one, or maybe getting another loan from a bank to cover everything, you know?
Kind of moving things around.
Correct.
And like when you were showing me before those graphs that like break down your expenses, what were those 3 categories?
So
it was like a pie chart.
Yeah, the main pie, it's revenue, what you're making every month, every year, right? Revenue, right? From that revenue, you gotta subtract what is called cost of goods sold, right? That's an accounting term, right? Mm-hmm. Which means all your variable costs, your employee costs, your fuel, food, everything that's variable. So if you gave
electricity,
no, that's not variable.
No, oh,
it's kind of variable, but I don't put it as variable. It's everything that if you deliver more units, you're gonna have more of those costs. If I deliver more units, I'm gonna spend more on gas. If I deliver more units, I'm gonna spend more on employees. Gonna have more employees, more time on the employees, right? Then you got your fixed costs, your expenses, right?
Okay.
So your fixed cost would be, let's say, your rent. That's fixed. Usually utilities are kind of fixed. They're almost all, they vary a little bit, but they don't vary too much. Your phone bill, it's fixed. If you have any kind of services, let's say marketing services, that's fixed, right? Google Ads is
insurance.
Fixed. Insurance is fixed. It could vary, but we put it as a fixed cost, right? All of those are fixed costs, right? So then you take your revenue, you subtract your cost of goods sold, you subtract your fixed costs, and then you get what is called it's called EBITDA, which is income before taxes and amortization and expenses. Oh no, not expenses. I don't remember.
Yeah, but before taxes.
Yeah, before taxes. But taxes, it's the least of your worries. What that's telling you is before amortization. Amortization is when you're looking at units, right? So all of this is before I say how much I spend in new products, right? So if I spend, like right now, the purchase I just made with you guys is not gonna go into my fixed costs. It's not gonna go into my variable costs. It's after that.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm reinvesting in the business.
Yeah.
So that needs to be considered completely on a different page, right? That's just accounting, any accountant can help you with this, you don't need to know all of this, An accountant will help you. You need to listen, pay attention, and
understand
what he's saying. But this is the way a balance sheet works, right? A balance sheet will tell you how much money you got in the bag, how much money you got in inventory. Amortization would say, okay, this inventory is not worth what I paid for because it's gotten old, right? Depreciation, amortization, all those things come after your EBITDA. And then you get your net cash flow at the end. I didn't talk about that because that, an older business might have less investment than a new business. A growing business will have more investment than a stagnating business. So, that's very variable, and that's, what the owners decide to do, whether they want to take home and don't invest anymore or whether they want to keep investing and growing the business,
Yeah.
That's where all the rest of the money goes.
Well, I mean, to me, hearing your perspective is so important because you're looking at things from a financial side, you're making informed decisions, and you're getting involved in all aspects of your business so that when you are outsourcing, you really know like what you're talking about, what you're looking for, and what results you're getting from your investment. Because in the end, no, not everybody wants to be a business owner, but I promise you, there are definitely people who are listening who are saying, what Alejo is speaking is where I'm trying to be. I want to grow a business. So I think you really add a lot of value, and
Thank you.
There's just so many tidbits of information that I feel like we need to do this again. Like you need to come on the podcast again sometime so we can talk more numbers and talk more about scaling. Do you have any last thoughts before we wrap up the show?
Everybody needs to be honest with themselves and figure out what they want. One of the things I admire about the guy I bought the business from is that he knew full well all this I'm talking about. He knows it very well. He just didn't want to grow it. That's why he sold it, and he actually started his own shop somewhere else. In a little smaller job that he can handle himself, right? So what I'm doing might not work for everybody else, and don't feel bad if it doesn't. But if it does, feel free to ask questions and join us again.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much.
right.
We appreciate you coming on. And everybody, thank you so much for listening. We can't wait for our next episode. Please make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you again next time.